ingredients that are consistent, right? They're not consistent. You have lemons and you have sugar. We're going to talk about what these mean. We're going to talk about what the lemons mean. We're going to talk about what the sugar is, and we're going to talk about you. All right. So the master recipe for success is don't avoid difficulties, right? The difficulties are the lemons, right? I know you've heard the saying, you can take your lemons and make lemonade, right? So the lemons are the difficulties, but the sugar, it represents optimism and hope. Now, um, water is also key to the harmony of the lemonade. You can't just have sugar and lemons and think you're gonna make lemonade. Nope, you're not gonna do that. So I want to ask you while you're watching this recording, I want to ask you, what's your go-to ingredient for when you're facing a tough season? I know for mine, it used to be a long time ago. I used to be an alcoholic, right? That's one of the things that was my go-to. That bottle. Another one of my go-tos was sex. That was a go-to for me, right? And so that's what I dealt with when I dealt. That's what I did when I dealt with hard times, right? So sometimes sleeping is what I go to. Sometimes comedy, going watching TV. Those are escapisms. We're going to talk about those. Those are the things that we sometimes deal with. So the lemons symbolize the hard times. The sugar represents the optimism, but the water brings the harmony. Let's talk about it a little bit more. All right. So the ingredients of life's recipe: lemons and sugar. But we have to balance challenges and optimism. Life's journey is filled with lemons and sugar. It's always going to be filled with lemons and sugar. And recognizing the balance is crucial for overcoming challenges while maintaining optimism in entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a small business owner, if you are a professional leader or a new professional, you need to understand that there are going to be difficult times. There are going to be lemons. But you have to learn how to maintain optimism while you're in those difficult moments. Again, the lemons are the difficult moments, and the sugar is the optimism. Now, here is the danger of having extremes in both, because sometimes we can have extreme lemons and sometimes we can have extreme sugar. All right? So, navigating extreme lemons can lead to stagnation. You can get stuck, you can get left behind if the only thing you focus on is the lemons. But then you have to make sure that you don't go to the extreme in the sugar either. It's good to remain hopeful and optimistic, but don't go into the extreme of unrealistic expectations. Again, balance is essential for forward movement. Okay? Now, the thing that's going to balance that all out is water, baby. I know you hear some, make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that water. Because nobody had to make you water because you're already water. I'm going to prove it to you a little bit. You are already water. Water is the essential element for harmony in life. It adapts, flows, and sustains all around it. Recognizing that you too can be the water, fostering resilience, bringing balance, and ensuring consistent forward movement. You have to embrace your power because you are the water. Don't nobody need to make you water because you are the water. I'm going to prove it to you. You are the water. All right. So let's have a little reflection, Jerry. Let's reflect a little bit because I want to reflect on some things and talk to you a little bit. In your personal reflection, I want you to think about a time that you faced challenges. How did you adapt? How did you stay balanced? And how did you continue moving forward through these uncertainties? And this is going to be important as we go through the remainder of the course. How did you stay balanced? What did you do to move through those uncertainties? Because that's going to be important for you to know. And then you need to, what I want you to do after that, when you think about those things, I want you to recognize that those are strengths. And I want you to identify those skills and those qualities that helped you to navigate those tough periods. These are your sources of resilience and your power to thrive, right? You need to know that. They give you the ability to thrive. All right? So that's important to know. Now, again, you are the water. You have power. You have power to overcome whatever challenge you face. And you have power to stay present in the midst of the problem because you are the water. Sugar won't overpower you. Lemons won't overpower you. That means your challenges will not overpower you. And then also, you won't become overly optimistic and check out on life because life still moves on and you cannot just sit back thinking, oh, it'll all work out. It'll all work out. No, it won't all work out. You got to face some things. You got to deal with some things. You got to bring some strategy to it. All right? Let's talk about water. All right? So, water is a framework, it's an acrostic. And I want you to use this as your roadmap for resilience. All right? So, number one, the W in water stands for who. You're the who, right? You have to understand what your core values are and don't lose your who in the midst of your problems. You can't afford to do that. And then the A stands for your abilities. You have to learn how to honor those abilities and those capabilities, and you got to have gratitude while you're doing it. And the T in water stands for talent. And you got to recognize talents as gifts. And you got to learn how to work them talents because you are not just given talents just so you can impress people. You were given talents so that you can power through whatever situation and circumstance that you're dealing with. And I'm going to talk about how do you do that. And then the E in water stands for experience, right? And so you have to leverage your lived experience as well as your life experiences so that you can know how to grow even in the midst of dirt and death and defeat. You have to know how to do that if you're going to survive. All right? And then the R in water, it stands for resilience. You got to embrace challenges and move forward. You got because you are stronger than you think you are. I was listening to a personal trainer the other day. Never mind. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me keep moving. All right. So let's talk about the who. The W in the water, that's the who. That's your core values, your self-worth, and your past victories. Those all make you who you are. You have to understand your values and provide clarity, and they provide clarity and direction, and they guide your decisions and actions toward a fulfilling creative journey. When you operate in your core values, that's your who. Your core values do not change just because the times and the seasons change, just because things become more difficult or less difficult. Your core values should never change. And when you hang on to your values, then they help to guide you. They help to give you clarity. And you have to go back to those core values, even when things are difficult in the moment. And then you have to maintain your self-worth. Recognizing your personal worth enhances confidence and drives motivation, empowering you to embrace challenges and pursue your passions. You have to understand your self-worth. You're worth more than what the situation is trying to tell you you're worth. And you have to understand your value. You have to realize that you cannot have cognitive dissonance to where you're trying to hold on to what the challenge says you are while you're holding on to what you know you are. You have to know you. You can't dumb down and you cannot sit around and think that you are not worthy to get through this situation. I don't care if you've made the mistakes that got you into the situation. You're still worthy to get through it and get to the next space and place. All right? So you got to understand your self-worth. And they help you to stay motivated and stay confident. Right? You are enough. Okay? Let's keep going. And then you have to take note of your past victories. You got to take note of your past victories. Because when you reflect on your past victories, it reinforces resilience, reminding you of your capabilities and fueling your determination to overcome future obstacles. Hey, listen, your past experiences, whether you want to face it or not, they have shaped you. They have made you who you are. They've developed character in you. And so the W in water, it represents your who, your core values, your self-worth, and your past victories. They have all come together to define who you are. All right? Now, let's go to the A. The A. Thank you so much, sweet Gigi, for the heart meet. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. The A in water are your abilities. And you have to honor your capabilities because they are your abilities. All right? Whatever you're capable of doing, you're able to do. I want to say that again because I hope you didn't miss it. Whatever you are capable of doing, you are able to do. I don't care if you're not able to do it the way you used to do it. You're still able to do it. And if you continue to pursue and persist and and persevere in the midst of the challenges, guess what? It's just like riding a bike. You jump back on that thing and you keep going. And so the first part of your abilities is you got to acknowledge your abilities. You got to recognize your abilities recognizing your abilities is the first step towards success. It empowers you to embrace challenges with confidence and positivity. All right? You have to embrace those challenges by understanding your abilities. Know what your abilities are. Know what you have in your house. Know what you have in your wheelhouse. Know what you have in your toolbox. Because whatever you have in your toolbox, it has the ability to assist you in getting out of hard situations and hard seasons. All right? And then you have to have gratitude because everybody doesn't have the same capabilities and abilities that you have. So you have to be thankful that you have these abilities and these capabilities. You have to appreciate it. You have to cultivate gratitude for your skills. And when you do that, it enhances motivation. It creates a positive mindset that fuels perseverance and joy in your journey. See, because when you understand that you have certain capabilities, it gives you a positive feeling that say, hey, it got me out of this. So in some kind of way, it's going to get me out of that. And you can have joy in the middle of your journey because you understand that your problem is only temporary, but your talents can take you out of temporary circumstances and situations. And then another thing about your abilities, you have to put those abilities to work. Consistent action is vital. You have to leverage your abilities to make progress, celebrate each success, and keep moving forward with determination. Your abilities and your talents, they do you no good if you don't use them. So you have to use the talents in order to move you forward. Because if you don't use them, I won't say if you don't use them, you're going to lose them. They're still there. But if you don't lose them, it's like a muscle. If you don't use a muscle for a certain amount of time, it becomes what's called atrophied. That means that muscle becomes stiff. It does not have any motion and movement and activity, and you got to wake it up. You don't have time to try to go back and wake up your abilities. You got to make sure that they stay active. Keep them active. Keep those abilities active, and they will begin to help you move out of what you are. For those who are just coming in, my name is Cadrick Jones. I go by KJ, and I also go by the moniker, the Purpose Practitioner. And if you're watching now live on TikTok, it is a paid live. And it will prompt you to pay in order to get in. And it's $1.99. But if you pay $1.99, you're going to be fine. And you're going to get more than what you pay for. I promise you. So the A in water stands for the ability. The W in water stands for who? The A in water stands for abilities. Now, if you don't use abilities, they're going to be atrophied. All right? Here is the T in water. It's your talents. You got to learn how to embrace your talents. Your abilities are the things that you are capable of doing. They help you move forward. Because let me tell you something. Everyone doesn't have the ability to see or see clearly. Everyone doesn't have the ability to move and move freely of their own volition. Everyone doesn't have the ability to hear clearly. Everyone doesn't have the ability to be able to connect with other people. Everybody doesn't have the ability to have their right mind in the midst of challenging situations. You have that ability. You need to appreciate that ability, and then you need to connect those abilities to your talents. Your talents are natural gifts. Recognizing your talents allow you to harness them as powerful tools for collaboration and personal fulfillment in your endeavors. All right? So collaboration is the thing that talents are for. They're used to collaborate with people. Because you don't have everything. You don't have the full resource. You don't have all of the sources and the resources that you need to begin to progress through these challenging stages. You're going to have to connect and collaborate with other people who have the capacity to partner with you to help you get through. But not only are your talents natural gifts that allow you to collaborate with others, your talents also help you to serve others. When you have been given talents, it helps you to serve others. Your talents can positively impact those around you, creating opportunities for collaboration and enriching the lives of others in meaningful ways. God did not just give you talents for you to just sit on those talents. He did not just give you those talents for you to collaborate with others so that you can make a name for yourself. No, he gave you those talents to also serve others around you. Because guess what? The way that you prosper in the midst of problems is because you bring answers to those problems, and your talents are an answer to those problems. And then your talents are also patterns of strength. I told you earlier in the session to think about the times where you navigated through difficult moments. There were certain things that you were able to do in those difficult moments that allowed you to get through it. And you need to go back and take inventory of those things. Think about those strengths, those abilities, those opportunities that you were able to create. Those all point to your talents. And it gives you a pattern of strengths. And by reflecting on those patterns, you can identify effortless talents that can be channeled into services that resonate with your community. Because guess what? Everyone doesn't have the talent that you have. This is how you know you have a talent. Because remember, it's a pattern of strength. This is how you know you have a talent. It's the thing that you do with ease that other people begin to scratch their head about. And other people continue to come to you with answers for. Because you know how to make it happen. Everybody doesn't know how to cook like you. Everybody doesn't know how to think like you. Everybody doesn't know how to problem solve like you. Everybody doesn't know how to dress like you. Everybody doesn't know how to do certain things the way that you do them because you know how to do them, and you know how to do them with expertise and ease, while other people are struggling to try to make it happen. Those are your talents. And so you need to learn how to have a balance with using those to collaborate with others and serve others. And when you do both, guess what? The scripture says that your gift will make room for you and bring you into the presence of great people. But if you don't learn how to maneuver and make a balance between serving others and collaborating with others, guess what? And you just sit on your talents, it's not going to do anything for you. What's going on, Sweet Neeks? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining Prophet Friday. And for those of you that's joined, my name is Cadrick Jones. I go by KJ, and I use the moniker The Purpose Practitioner. And my whole job in life is to help people become better than they were before they met me by helping people to understand, discover, and walk effectively in their purpose. That's what I do. That's how I do it. That's my talent, and that's a talent that I didn't always know that I had. I had the talent to be able to help people understand what their strengths are, understand how they can function in life, and how they can be effective in life. That's my talent. That's what I do, and I embrace that. All right? And so the W in water stands for who. That's who you are. The A in water stands for your abilities, because you have everyday abilities that you may take for granted, but those are the things that are going to help you get through those difficult moments. And then the T in water stands for talents. You have the ability you have talents that can get you through any situation. And then the E in water stands for experience. Your experience matters. Let's talk about it. Your experience Sharing experiences fosters trust and connection. Personal stories demonstrate resilience, encouraging others to navigate their challenges with hope and determination. All right? You can navigate challenges with hope and determination because you build trust. When people know that you have experience, because everybody hadn't been through what you've been through. But if you learn how to take what you've been through and use it for leverage to build trust with other people, when people know that you can do what they can't do, it builds trust. And people trust you because I'm going to age myself. They used to have a commercial about a financial advisor named E.F. Hutton. It says when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens. Why? Because E.F. Hutton had been through some changes, some ups and downs in the financial world, and he knew how to turn things around and make them work. And so when you have experience, it brings expertise that makes people listen because you have trust. And then not only do you build trust, you create influence. It gives you the ability to influence the environments around you simply because you have the capacity to show what you're able to do and what you've been able to do and how you've been able to conquer difficult moments in the past. Now you have influence with people. Your experiences shape your influence. Leverage them to inspire and guide others, showing that growth is possible even in adversity. And you have to use your experience, your lived experience. It gives you the ability. See, I have a job now um, that I never thought I would be able to walk in. But I'm able to walk in it because of my lived experience. Now, let me say this. Every lived experience is not going to be positive. Some lived experiences are going to be negative. They're going to be painful. But you have to know how to take those lived experiences and turn them around and make them work for you. Here is the scripture. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. Every experience is not going to be good, but every experience can work for your good. But then your experience, it also empowers growth. And that's why you have to embrace your journey. Whether it had negatives or positives, if it had more negative than it does positive, guess what? You're going to get more good than you would if you never had any negatives. Because all things work together for good. Even the negatives work together for good. And you have to embrace your journey. Using lived experiences to empower yourself and others encourages a culture of learning and growth through challenges. But you got to learn how to use your experiences. You can be empowered, and you can empower others when you embrace your journey. And finally, the R in water stands for resilience. And in order to be resilient, you got to breathe, you got to believe, and you got to move forward. Deliberate breathing techniques can ground you during stress, promoting clarity and calmness to navigate challenges with confidence and focus. Let me tell you something. During the pandemic, there were a lot of things that happened in my life during the 4 years following that. And the way that I got through that is I learned how to practice deliberate breathing. It helped to keep my blood pressure regulated. It helped to keep my thoughts here in the present and not be so focused on what has happened and not be so worried about what's going to happen. I have to learn how to breathe to stay calm in the moment. During the pandemic and after the pandemic, I began to start having, watch this, panic attacks. Had never had panic attacks before in my life, but when I learned how to be deliberate in practicing my breathing, it was able to get me through. Watch this. I used the 5-4-10 method. There are several methods. I breathe in for 5, I hold it for 4, and I blow it out for 10. So that means that I am continually emptying my lungs. When I breathe in, it's going to raise my heart rate, it's going to raise my blood pressure. But then if I hold it, it's telling my body, okay, I don't want it to stay at that place. But then when I blow it out, what happens is it's lowering my blood pressure, lowering my heart rate, and it's relaxing my nervous system. And I can get through any challenge by being deliberate in my breathing. Not only do I need to breathe, I need to believe. I need to maintain, you need to maintain unwavering belief in your abilities because it fuels motivation and perseverance, helping you to overcome obstacles and stay committed to your goals. You got to believe. If nobody else believes, you have to believe in your abilities. You have to believe in your talents. You have to believe in who you are. Because other people can form opinions about who you are based upon failures of the past. Other people can form opinions about who you are based upon what they think about people who look like you or people who come from where you come from. Let them think and feel however they feel, because Romans 3:3 says, so what if some don't believe? Does that make the faith of God of none effect? God believed in you. That's why he sent his son Jesus to die for you. He believed in you. He believed that you would be a good steward over the sacrifice of his son. So you have to learn how to believe in yourself when nobody else believes in you. You have to learn how to believe that you have the ability and the capability to do certain things. And you have to learn how to believe that you have the talent to get you through this. And you have to learn how to believe that your experience is going to work for you. And then not only do you have to learn how to believe, you have to learn how to move forward. Because if I believe and I don't move, it does nothing for me. I have to learn how to move forward based upon what I believe. Because faith without works is dead. So let me put it like this. Believing in me and my abilities without forward motion will leave me stagnant. And I can't afford to be stagnant in times of losing and difficulty. I got to continue to move. And so you got to choose to be water, because life is going to throw you lemons. I'm sorry. Life is going to throw you lemons. And what your predilection is, or your proclivity is that you want to escape, and you want to get all the sugar you can to escape your difficult moments. And yes, maintaining joy and optimism and hope is important, but you cannot take it to the extreme, to the extent to where you don't face your problems. The problems are going to come. Those are the lemons. The sugar is necessary, right? That's the joy, the contentment, and the positivity. But in order to balance all that out and to make it blend perfectly, in order for everything in life to taste sweet and taste good and hydrate you, you need water. Somebody just say, it's just water. I am. So I need you to write down on a piece of paper, I am water. I am who I believe I am. I have the ability to do what I say I can do. I have talents that give me the ability to make an impact in this world. I have experience that serve as receipts of what I'm able to do. And then I have the resiliency to breathe, believe, and move forward. And when you take water and add it to those difficult moments, and you mix it with hope, joy, and optimism, you transform your challenges into something useful. So how are you going to do that? We're gonna think about the lemons. They're the challenges. And the sugar is the false optimism. So you don't want to stay stuck in the negativity of your situation. But you also don't want to be so falsely optimistic that you don't face your problems. You're not called to sit in your problems, but you're called to sit with your problems so you can find out how to successfully move through the problem. But you can't do that if you're not water. You can't just escape the problem. You got to face it. You got to sit with it. You got to face it. But then you got to bring in the optimism and the joy and the hope that you can get through this no matter what's going on. And you need to remember, you have the power to be water. That's the who, that's your abilities, that's your talents, that's your experiences, and and that's your resilience. You are the water, and you bring balance and forward movement. But you got to embrace your journey. Choose growth and transformation through every hard season you face. Choose growth and transformation through every hard season you face. And you can win even while other people are losing. You can have victory even while other people are failing. But you got to be water. Do you know what water does? Water flows. And water does not just flow. There used to be a song that says still waters weren't deep. But even deep waters, when there is so much pressure and so much force to it, it pushes beyond its limitations in order to carve a path to different places. And I am here to tell you that your challenges are not your limitations. Your challenges are opportunities and pathways to take you to another place. But you got to be water. So you've seen the content. If you like the content, I want to connect with you. I want to connect with you. Here's my information. You can reach out to me at PKG. I said PKG. PKJ at thepurposepractitioner.com. You can also find me on social media at The Purpose Practitioner. And you can also call me at 501-487-7337. If I don't answer, you can always leave a message. I'll get the message. I'll respond back. But listen, if you're a spammer, I will not reach back out to you. Okay? All right. So thank you so much for joining. You have the capacity to win even in seasons of losses. But you have to not get stuck in the negativity of the losses. You have to not try to escape the negativity by your false optimism, your false hope, and your false joy. But what you have to do is you have to learn how to be water. The W in water stands for who? You got to remember what your core values are. Those are the things that ground you. You got to remember where your self-worth is. That's the thing that gives you confidence. And you got to remember your past victories. That's the thing that gives other people confidence in the fact that you believe that you can overcome this challenge. And then A in water stands for abilities. And you got to learn how to acknowledge your abilities, realizing that they are abilities that everybody doesn't have. Just being able to wake up, just being able to see, just being able to move without pain. If you can do that, that's an ability. If you can have pain and still move, everybody don't have that. That's an ability. If you have the ability to speak and advocate for yourself, that's an ability. And then you have to have gratitude for those abilities that you have. And then you have to use those abilities to take action and move forward with determination. The T in water represents talents. Your talents are natural gifts that you use to collaborate with other people who have other natural gifts so that you can get things done quicker and more efficiently. But it's not just to collaborate, it's to serve others. And when you begin to look for what your talents are, go through your life and look back over your life and look at the patterns of strength that you've used to get through difficult moments, difficult situations, and difficult circumstances. Then you'll begin to see your talents arise out of those patterns. So the W in water represents who? The A in water represents your abilities. The T in water represents your talents. And then the E in water represents your experience. Your experience builds trust because when people know that you've gone through it and you've accomplished it, it gives people trust that you can go through something else. And then it creates influence because when you help other people get through things, you get influence. And then you are empowered for growth as well as other people around you because when people see the things that you've been through, they are empowered to learn through whatever they're going through. And then the R in water stands for resilience. And if you're going to be resilient, you got to learn how to breathe deliberately. You got to learn how to believe no matter what, regardless of what anybody else believes. And You can't just breathe and believe. You got to take that breath and that belief, and you got to move forward. And that makes you water. Thank you for joining. This is Helen Jones, second son, saying life is too short to play games, so keep it real. Two fingers to the north. We out.